Hi, this is Alan's Firearms with Guns Plus More and the XDS 9mm. Now I did its big brother, the XDS 45, same size gun, different barrel, different caliber when they first came out. And when it first came out, they only made it in the 45. They were going for the smallest 45 on the market that's carryable and shootable, and they made it. I almost changed from my Warthog to it until after I weighed them both empty, and yes, it was lighter than my Warthog, but not enough to lose all the money I'd lose in selling my Warthog to replace it with this. But this is a great price point, a lot cheaper than the Warthog is. And it's got a lot of features that I personally really like. Now, I did wonder at first, why would you want a 9mm that is a 45? I mean, same size gun, same everything. Why would you give up that power? And I had to push and that's my prejudice talking. And when I push my prejudice aside, which I have to do in this business, in order to sell guns and do these videos, I have to understand, what do you want? Well, some people don't want a 45. Big, heavy round, weighs the gun, makes the gun weigh a lot more than the 9. So when you have the lighter round, you also have a lighter gun, because it is still, it's got some weight to it. Plus, it doesn't have the recoil and that the 45 has. So it's a lot easier to handle with a little less snap than the 45. The 45 is more of a push, but in a gun this short, the 45 snaps too. And my Warthog is a bear to shoot. So I can understand why a lot of people would want it in a 9. Nice, great, safe gun with this gun. A lot of features on this gun I like. For instance, and I'll show it to you at the workbench and go over in detail, but it has a rear backstrap safety and a safety on the trigger itself, and in conjunction makes this an extremely safe gun to carry. Now, all that being said, I don't want to bend your ear anymore. So let's get to the workbench. Let's field strip it, clean it, lube it, and put this puppy back together again. Hi, welcome to the workbench, and this is the Springfield Armory XDS 9mm. This is the box it comes in. It's a pretty nice box, it's pretty hefty. So if you had to go traveling, this is a safe box. It's got 2 position locks. Behind the front cover, you'll find your paperwork. It's in a plastic sleeve, which is nice they did that, because the older ones, when you open the box, everything used to always fall out. This locks in there pretty nicely. Has a lock. It has 2 magazines, an 8-round and actually they give you these finger grooves, a 7-round. One for extra concealability, one for a little extra firepower. Here's the gun. Also in your box, you're going to find 2 little bars. They're colors to replace the front sight. You have green, which is one color, and red, that's already in there for replacements if it breaks. And it also has a cleaning rod in here. So there you go. It also has an extra extension, finger extension, for your if you buy a 3rd magazine, you already have the extension. You don't have to go hunting one down. I thought that was pretty cool of them to include that. And an extra back strap. If you have a smaller hand, you can change the back strap grip. Let's go over the finer points of the gun. First, we have the sights. Now, that's a glow sight, and it picks up surrounding light. It's not like a night sight, but low lighting, it picks up the light, and hopefully you can see it here. And I can't see this with, and I did my best to show you the sights. It has an ambidextrous mag release, so it has from this side, look at how that shoots out of there, or from this side. Wow, very positive mag release. It has a piece here, this front part on the top will pop up showing you it's a loaded chain. There is no indicator telling you that the gun is charged, so be aware of that. But anytime you're going to handle a firearm, before you pull a trigger, before you try to clean it, rack it, check the chamber and look down the magazine well. Before you pull a trigger on any gun, even if you're sure it's empty, check before you put your finger on the trigger. Rack it 3 times. On the 3rd time, look down the chamber, look down the magazine well. Take my word for it, I've seen people go like this, not looking down the chamber, pulling the trigger, and it went bang because there was a loaded round in here that the extractor didn't extract. Always remember that. What's nice about this gun, it has that loaded chamber indicator. It has a rear safety on the back strap and a safety on the trigger. If you have a positive hold without your finger totally being on the trigger, it won't fire. You have to have a positive hold on both in order for it to go click. Small small slide release. I wish they would have made that a little bit longer, a little bit heavier, but that's nitpicking. No, it's not. I wish they did, but it's still usable. Slide release right there. It's got a 3.3 inch barrel, which is nice because when you shorten a barrel, you lose muzzle energy. So this way you don't lose too much from that 9mm. So between recoil, sight acquisition, and lighter, that gives you enough reasons to say, yeah, give it to me in 9. Also, it's a self-defense weapon. So let's take it apart. You can pull the slide back traditionally and push the thumb safe, the slide release up like that. I find it difficult being a small gun. You can put a mag in, pull it, and then dump that empty mag. Make sure it's an empty mag, otherwise it's going to load your gun. At that point, you can double check, make sure there's nothing in the chamber, and this piece right here, that goes up, just like that. Once that's up, you can release it, pull the trigger, and then it will slide off. Remove the spring, remove the barrel, and here we have it. That's all there is to field stripping it. Cleaning it is a cinch. We're going to take some strike hold. For you, those of you who don't know what strike hold is, refer to my strike hold video. I can't explain it here. I'll just say this. This is a formula that you clean your gun with, and when you're done cleaning it, you put it back together again. It goes on, it cleans your gun, and the remainder is like a dry lube. It dries, you just wipe off the remainder, and it's like putting Teflon on your gun, and it protects it. If you're using regular gun cleaner, I will show you how to lube this gun anyway. I'm going to put some gun cleaner on this rag. I'm going to go up and down here with this, it's wrapped around a stick. This little silver piece right there is your firing pin block. I'm going to make sure I push on that and clean that off. Get the top of this off clean. Do not put oil or grease or lubricant or cleaner down in your firing pin area. Not necessarily. Clean the sides of this. Inside here, actually, it's better if you use your finger to get in there because it's such large flat areas. It'll go on. It'll be easier to do it that way. I'm going to wrap this around here. I'm going to get the front 2 holes. Clean off both sides of them. Okay. And now, since I'm using strike hold, I can wipe down the outside of the gun. If you're not using strike hold, then you wipe it down with cleaner, regular gun cleaner, then you do have to wipe it down with oil, wipe the oil off, and then wipe it with, put a gun wax on it. The gun oil does a couple of things. It not only lubricates the gun where it needs to be lubricated, there's only a couple of places, but it deactivates the cleaner, which is very caustic. It's meant to remove stuff. If you don't deactivate it, it'll start to remove metal after time. Up and down your slide rails. You do that 2 or 3 times if it's new. You keep doing it until it comes out clean. You're going to go in here and you're going to clean out off your, oops, went right through the rag. You're going to clean off your battery. It is very important to clean off the battery of the gun. If you don't clean off the battery of the gun, you're going to start getting jams. And one of the most important parts of the battery is under the extractor. If you don't get the extractor clean, you can leave it'll right up over the round. You'll leave a round in there causing a jam. Worse yet, you'll leave a live round in there. And even if you rack it, it doesn't pull it out. And then you have an accidental discharge because you think the gun is empty, like a person I know who almost shot me that way. Okay, so we're going to take the strike hold or cleaner and go underneath the little side rails and the sides and the tops. At this point, you're going to have to throw your switch down so you can get underneath those slide rails, front and back. I'm going to wipe down the whole gun on the inside, making sure I get it all clean. I'm going to take a rag on a traditional cleaning stick, stick it in here, make sure that's all clean. Up and down, mop the magazine well out, make sure that's all clean. Barrel, wipe down the barrel with cleaner inside the lug. Remember, this is a brand new gun and it's already really clean, so you're going to have to be spending a little more time on each area than I am. I'm just showing you the basic steps. You're going to put your cleaner on your stick. You're going to go down the barrel all the way out, through that a few times until this comes out clean. Now, really important part of the barrel to get is your feed ramp. The bottom feed ramp and the top feed ramp. That's part of the feed ramp system, the top of that. And that's where when the bullet hits here, it then hits the top and goes in. So you want to make sure that's all clean. You want to spend a little extra tension. You did the barrel, but you want to spend a little extra tension in the chamber, because push the stick in up and down all around the chamber, because if there's dirt in the chamber, you can get a round, get stuck in there. I'm going to get the spring. Okay, now to oil this gun. 2 or 3 drops of oil on a rag. Let it permeate that rag. You're not going to put it directly in the gun. Oil directly in the gun is not a good thing. All it will do is attract dirt, and then that dirt becomes sludge. So every time you fire it, or even just sitting around collecting dirt, it gets attracted to the oil. Now I'm going to go up and down inside the slide rails 2-3 times, because that really needs lubrication. That's one of the few places that actually uses lubrication for the gun. Then I'm going to take it off, and I'm just going to wipe the inside down, making sure I get every place that I got cleaner on. So that way my gun finish doesn't break down and I start getting rust and pits and all that nasty stuff. Wipe down, I already did, wipe down the barrel with oil, the outside. Now the one place that's hard to get, except unless you're using like a strike hole, when you get oil, is down the barrel. So you want to put your oily stick, your oily rag down the barrel and push it out with the stick, just like that. So now this whole outside has been oiled. And the last place we want to put oil, I'm going to get underneath the rail. I'm going to get the flat part of the rail that shows forward on both sides. Okay, and top of the metal parts. Anywhere where I see there may be a little metal contact, you can tell if there was glue there and it's worn off, there's metal contact. Now I'm just going to wipe down all the metal parts to get any cleaner up. Now if you did get cleaner down into the works where the springs are, there you can take a drop of oil and just drop it on the spring. And then you take your, and just get the extra oil out. You see a lot of extra oil came out. It doesn't need that much oil. And I'm just going to make sure all my metal parts that got touched with cleaner are done. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now it's time to put the firearm back together in. We're going to take the barrel with the lug hook up, put it in, drop it down, push it back. I'm going to move this into a comfortable position that I can handle it. Big part of the spring goes into the little cup in the front, fingers on the back, press it, push it forward and in, and it goes right on. This switch, and move it back to the up position. I'm going to match up my frame rails, my slots in the slide. I'm going to move this I'm going to pull the slide back and lock the slide in position with the slide lock. I had a little difficulty in that because that switch is so small. I'm going to throw this switch forward. I'm going to drop the slide. I'm going to put a magazine in it. I'm going to pull it back and make sure my magazine lock functioned. I will release it if I have trouble releasing it, because sometimes with an empty mag you do. I will drop the mag and test it. It worked. I'm going to push in the rear safety and pull the trigger without touching the front safety. So the rear safety works. I'm going to pull the trigger with the safety without touching the rear safety, and it works. Now I'm going to hold both. Now full press. Perfect. So that worked very well. The safeties all worked. Great function. There we go, the XDX with the 8 and 7 round magazine. And I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me on the adventure of the Springfield XDS. I am so glad you joined me. Please like and subscribe, and until next time.